my favorite things with all the jobs I've ever had. I've always loved training. So I'm excited to do this. My first big secret for you is that there's no secret. Sorry, there's no secret at all. I'm not particularly gifted in sales. I am not some sort of, found some sort of groundbreaking new thing that I'm doing. Honestly, all you need to do is everything that Lori's been telling you to do, or the training calls have been telling you to do, and be coachable. Be open to do things a little bit differently maybe than how you've been used to doing things. Just do exactly what you're taught, because this business really is duplicatable. And when you do it the way that Lori teaches you, or Tanya teaches you, or Leslie teaches you, then when you have a team of your own, you teach them to do it that way, and then they teach theirs, and they teach theirs, and it really does start to snowball. So I thought today we would talk a little bit about not just the what, but the how, because I know we've all been on training calls where they say, if you do lead the way and you have 7 PCs, you just need to get 3 more. And then they stop talking. And I'm always left wondering, yeah, but how? How do I get 3 more? Where do I find 3 more? And then once I find them, what do I do with them? So I thought we would talk a little bit first about prospecting, which is where it all begins. And so obviously when we're prospecting, we're going to go to the people that we know the best. The hot network is what I would call that. And your hot network are your best friends, your family, your neighbors, the people that you see all the time, the people who know you, the people that you drink wine with in your pajamas when you're watching TV together. Those are your hot network. And those are who you're going to reach out to first. And those are easy because they're your people. So once you get to your hot network, and not all of them will buy. My hot network did not buy at all until like a month ago. So, but they're great to practice on, because they're going to tell you that sounded canned, that sounded great, the products sound good, but they're going to give you some real objections, and you're going to be able to play with it. But then you have your warm network. I use Facebook for most of my prospecting. Because it's just a great way for me to reach out to people that I haven't seen in 30, 20, 10 years. And they're all right there for me. I can search alphabetically, I can organize them, and there's one central way for me to reach out to them. So that's my warm network. My warm network are my Facebook friends. These are people I went to college with, but I didn't know them well. Former neighbors, former PTA moms that I've worked with, high school friends, etc. So that's your warm network. So once we get through the warm network, which is probably where a lot of us are starting to enter into, we've got the dreaded cold network. So here is one tiny little secret. We don't have to ever deal with cold network, and here's why. Let's say I have 1,000 Facebook friends. That's approximately right. I would say for most people, somewhere between 100 and 1,000, depending on how much they use Facebook. And let's say Lori Neighbors has 1,000 Facebook friends. And Lori and I met through preschool, and we probably have maybe, before Rodan and Fields, maybe 10 mutual friends. That means there are 990 second-degree warm network people that I can reach through my friend Lori. And again, this is assuming that Lori's not already in Rodan and Fields. So any of my friends that I'm comfortable asking for referrals, any of my friends that I'm comfortable asking for, would you post this on your Facebook page? Or if you really like this mini glow facial, would you talk about it on your Facebook page? Those are my second-degree warm network. And I promise you, I'm going to go through my first-degree networks before I go to any cold calling or any talking to strangers or, walking around a grocery store or whatever. So think about making your warm network bigger by looking into the second degree. And these are going to be your hot network second degree, or even better. This is your mom's best friend, or your best friend's neighbor, or your sister's neighbor, or you get the point. So your second degree network is where you're going to find thousands and thousands of untapped prospects. They're not all going to reach back out to you, just like your warm network isn't going to all reach back out to you, just like your hot network isn't going to all reply. But you can still do reach outs, because as we know, that's how we plant the seeds. So that's my second point, is reach outs. And this is, again, nothing new. This is what we've heard in every single training call we've ever had, that if I'm not talking to people about Rodan and Fields, my business is not going to grow. I'm not going to get new PCs. I'm not going to get a team. If I'm not asking, people in general aren't going to just see my once a week Facebook post and be like, oh, I have to have it. Occasionally, yes, we'll look into those, but we have to work for PCs, and we have to work for team members. So how do you reach out? The first thing we need to think about is, what are we going to say? So I use Facebook Messenger for almost all of my warm network. My hot network are generally in my phone, so I would text them or call them. But we're just going to talk about warm network because I feel like that's when we get to a point when we're in our warm network. It's people that we kind of know, but we're not super, super comfortable with. So when we're reaching out to them, what do we say? And I'm going to tell you what I did at first not to do this. I probably sent out 400,000 plus word essays on Rodan and Fields and how wonderful it is and the business model and the products and the clinical studies. I mean, I put it all in there, 1,000-word essays. And most of those people probably saw the first 3 sentences, scrolled down a little and thought, I don't have time for this. So my first tip is keep it simple. And that means literally keep it simple. A couple of sentences and send. I don't know if you're like me, but I tend to obsess about grammar. I tend to obsess about using just the right adjective or just the right adverb. And I don't have time for that. I don't want my business to grow at the rate of me flipping through a thesaurus. So here's what I say. And my girl's going to be Amy. She's going to be Amy for the whole time. So Amy is my warm prospect. I haven't reached out to her before ever. So I would say something like, hey, Amy, it's so great to... hang on a second. I was going to say it's Tina, but obviously she knows. So something like, hey, Amy, and then a personal sentence about something on her Facebook page, whether it's a picture of her kids or a recent trip, something that she knows that this is not a canned, spammy kind of message. Hey, Amy, personal sentence. You've probably seen from my Facebook page that I recently joined Rodan and Fields. I am so excited about what it's done for my skin and the time that it's given me with my family. I'd love to share more about it with you. Are you interested? Period. Send. Do not read it over 17 times. Do not go back in and change it and add to it. Just send it. You're not going to be able to say the wrong thing to the right person anyway, and you're not going to say the right thing to the wrong person. So spending your time obsessing about the verbiage is not an income-producing activity. So how many reach outs a day should we do? Let's say you work 2 days a week. Then you probably would want to do about 5 to 6 reach outs a day. If you work 7 days a week, 1 to 2 is probably fine. If you're new and you're excited, do as many as you want. There's no limit on the number of reach outs that you can do. If you're, I would say 10 to 15 a week is probably a good goal. Sometimes you'll do more, sometimes you'll do less, but try to average about 10 reach outs a week. And a reach out is defined by, it's a new person I've never talked to before. It's a brand new person, second degree warm network, a warm network, another hot network that I haven't had the nerve to ask yet because it's my rich aunt. She's not really that nice and, whatever. So 2 to 3 a day or 10 to 15 a week. Don't overthink it. And here's another tip that I have, basically all of these tips are things I've done wrong. So that's how I learn, unfortunately. So hopefully you all can learn a little bit from what not to do. Don't say no for anyone. And I'm going to give you an example. I grew up in a small town in upstate New York. Not a lot of name brand things, not a lot of extra money lying around. And so I didn't really think that it was appropriate for me to reach out to the people that I went to high school with because I thought for sure they're not going to want this expensive product, right? And so about a month into my business, I had posted something on Facebook, a before and after, and one of the girls I went to high school with reached out to me and she's like, I want this. And I was like, okay, here's the details. Boom, she bought it like that. And I realized that I had said no for her before she had said no to me. I've also done that with people who I feel like maybe don't spend a lot of time on their looks. They're not, they're not makeup wearers or dressy. That doesn't matter. Everyone wants good skin. Not just women either, men too. So don't say no for anybody. Let them say no to you. And don't be afraid of no. You've probably heard before, no doesn't always mean no, never. In fact, it almost never means no, never. It just means not today. Not right now, not today. And so practice being able to respond to that. A lot of times when you send out reach outs, you're not going to get any response at all. So if someone takes the time and has the courage to tell me no, I always, always reply back to them. Thanking them for their response, letting them know that I'm not going anywhere. If anything changes for you, you know where to find me. Is it okay if I follow up in 3 months? Do you know anybody else who might be interested, who might want products or might be looking for a great stay-at-home, be your own boss kind of a job? So that's how you respond. You respond by thanking them and then by asking them for what you want, which is another tip that I'll get into a little bit more later. So basically your reach out is you're planting seeds. You are planting a couple of seeds every single day because this is a numbers business. This is a pipeline business. And the more you plant, the more will bloom. Sometimes it's hard to know what to say in reach outs or when we're doing a Facebook message. There are thousands of people doing this job and doing other jobs too that are community commerce. You see on your Facebook post people selling drinks, people selling shakes, people selling wraps. If you like how they talk, if you like how they make you feel about their products, even if you don't want to buy them, but they don't annoy you or they don't turn you off, follow them, borrow their language, change the art, change the language, make it fit Rodan and Fields, and use it. And I know that Lori's fine with you borrowing anything from her. I'm fine with you borrowing anything from my Facebook page because most of my stuff is borrowed from somebody as well. So, okay, one more thing I want to talk about with reach outs is how to keep track of them. And here is another area where we can get bogged down in the minutia of tracking. Try to keep it simple. You want to make sure that whatever your tracking system is working for you and you're not spending your income producing time working to keep track. For me, I'm going to show you what I use. Anytime somebody replies to me and they're interested in the product, can you see that? I'm pretty high tech, so if you can't handle it, I get it. I write them down, I jot them on a little scrap piece of paper, and I have a sticky and I put them right on my desk. I do the same thing for my potential consultants. Anyone who has mentioned being interested in the discount or being interested in the business itself. You know, some of them have been on that list for 6 to 8 months, but I follow up with them every single month because they told me I am interested. People that don't reply, you're still going to want to reach back out to them. So keep track. For me, the way that I keep track is that I generally reach out to people in the same medium every time. So I can go into Facebook Messenger, I can search on their name, I can look back through my old messages and read what we've talked about, what their skin concerns are, their objections that we've already dealt with. So I'm not duplicating my work, and I'm making them feel special too by remembering the things that they've already told me. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Does anybody have any questions about prospecting or reach outs? Okay, I was thinking too, we could probably talk a lot about objections. Maybe we could do another training sometime where, hi Duffy, where we can have everyone send in the objection that they struggle with the most. What objection makes you freeze in your tracks? And then we can talk about possible ways to respond to those objections, because sometimes no's do punch you in the stomach a little bit. Especially if they're not the sweetest no, but you still want to reply, and you don't ever want to burn a bridge because you don't know when that person could become your next customer or your next teammate. So, okay, I'm going to move on from reach outs